or the headline from the Crypto Basic. Top analyst says the only way for XRP is up. The article dives into insights from chart analyst Crypto Wizard, one of the many XRP experts I follow who consistently displays incredible conviction. He believes XRP is showing remarkable strength we rarely see from it in its history. Sure, XRP had its moments, like the massive rally in 2017 into early 2018, and it did show some strength in the last market cycle, even though it fell short of a new all-time high. But what's happening now is on another level. XRP is leading the market out of the top 100 coins. That alone isn't shocking, but the way it's unfolding, absolutely fascinating. Even after months of consolidation, XRP is holding strong above $2.00, something it's never achieved in its over 10-year history. So is the only way up? If history has anything to say about it, then absolutely the answer is yes. If Bitcoin is poised to go parabolic, as many analysts predict for the final leg of this market cycle, then we can expect Bitcoin dominance to drop sharply. When that happens, a flood of money will flow into altcoins, including XRP. Retail speculators will inevitably chase the green candles, XRP included. And as prices surge, we'll finally hit exciting price discovery. So what's happening now? I've got some fascinating data to share. And trust me, it's the kind of information that builds confidence. It's hard to see this and not feel optimistic. Honestly, it's the kind of thing that makes me stop and think, wow, how lucky am I to know this? Here's the kicker. Most people, even those in crypto, have no idea about what I'm about to reveal. And it's not like these are hidden secrets. Everything I'm sharing is out there. You've got Google, you can search for it yourself, but the difference is knowing where to look. Most people don't realize what's happening, but kudos to you for paying attention and digging deep into this. It's become crystal clear to me that XRP is poised to outperform the majority of the crypto market this cycle. The major players know this too. They're quietly accumulating XRP. But before we dive in, let me be upfront. I'm not a financial expert. This doesn't make any investment decisions based solely on what I say or write. Now, the other day, I shared a post that you can see on your screen. It's from chart analyst Dom, who nailed a prediction of XRP breaking out this cycle and hitting a new all-time high. It's already happened. It's confident we'll see XRP surge even higher, predicting it could peak around $10 this cycle. Exciting, right? Let me quickly read through his analysis to make sure everyone's caught up. This post originally dropped on May 10th, but I actually have an updated version I haven't shared yet. And trust me, it gets even more explicit about what's really going on. First, let's revisit the May 10th post from Dom, where he dives into XRP. His words, short and striking. $170 million is in net market selling over the last 7 days. XRP up 11%. A true order flow anomaly. Takers, market orders were dumping, but price kept rising. This isn't bullish retail. It's stealth accumulation. Passive buyers absorbed every sell and lifted the floor. No emotion driving this movement. So let me ask you, who buys like a cold calculating robot? It's not your typical retail traders, those emotional FOMO field speculators chasing green candles and panic selling at the slightest dip. Nope. This was something bigger. This was the ultra wealthy. Institutions, asset managers, the players with deep pockets and even deeper strategies, quietly scooping up XRP while everyone else was distracted. It was businesses stepping in to scoop up XRP from panic sellers who had thrown in the towel. Fascinating stuff. Now let's dive into the latest numbers. Take a look at this. Just yesterday morning, some eye-popping stats were shared. $210 million worth of XRP has been net sold on the market in the past 7 days. Yet here we are, XRP is up 20%. That's insane. Absolutely wild. Here's what's even more interesting. When prices rise despite heavy sell pressure, it's a clear signal this isn't your average retail-driven rally. Market makers or big money whales are likely absorbing that massive sell-off with limit buy orders. So, my friends, I have to ask, do you think these whales, these so-called smart money, are clueless here? Are they just floundering around making bad financial decisions? Yeah, no, I really doubt it. If the smart money consistently made terrible calls, they wouldn't stay rich for very long, now would they? That's just how the game works. If all the funding dried up, institutions would collapse, everything would just evaporate, poof. And why? Because the average investor is completely in the dark. They don't know their left hand from their right when it comes to crypto. That's the hard truth. Most people are clueless. But here's the thing. Some individuals do get it. They know what they're doing. And you'll rarely see them caught off guard. They play the game differently, and it shows. Now, let's dive in. There are countless ways to analyze this, and I break it down on this channel all the time using different metrics. Take a look at what's being cited here. Isn't it fascinating? And there's more. Stick around. We've got some killer insights coming up, but check this out. He even mentions this as a bullish imbalance from an order flow microstructure lens. If this trend holds steady, it could trigger a massive breakout once those aggressive sellers run out of steam. That's the way it goes, folks. Eventually, the retail speculators tap out. They've all thrown in the towel. So who's left standing? The big players. And here's the kicker. When demand inevitably starts climbing again, it doesn't take much to send this rocket soaring. What's fascinating about all of this is how the whales and institutions are moving. For weeks now, I've been tracking the institutional cash inflows, and let me tell you, it's been nothing short of wild. The amount of money pouring into XRP has been staggering. Even during weeks when Bitcoin saw massive outflows, XRP kept pulling in huge inflows like clockwork. In all my 7+ years closely following XRP, I can't recall anything like this ever happening, not to this extent. It's absolutely wild. This is what unfolds when the playing field gets leveled and XRP breaks free from the chains of regulatory uncertainty. When markets aren't weighed down by government restraints and people are free to decide what truly makes sense, the result is clear. XRP's value surges as money flows in. Why? Because as an asset, it just makes sense. It's that simple. And the crazy part? All of this is happening without a wave of new retail speculators jumping in. I mentioned this the other day, but it's worth repeating. This is what a market looks like when it's free to breathe. And XRP is finally getting its moment to shine. Let's dive into some fresh data. I've got some XRP specific insights to share, but first, check out this timely article from Cointelegraph. It was published just 8 hours ago and is titled Google Search Volume for Bitcoin Flat as Bitcoin Nears New Highs. Where are retail investors? We're going to break this down and talk about what it means. Funny enough, I was just discussing this topic either yesterday or maybe 2 days ago. Time blurs together, doesn't it? But here's the thing. Bitcoin's current performance is fascinating. We're seeing these impressive price levels without a flood of new buyers or the usual euphoria that comes with a bull run. In fact, many people are still hesitant, fearful even when it comes to investing in this market. Yet here we are, Bitcoin sitting over $100,000 as I'm recording this, and XRP nearing $2.50, all with minimal new retail involvement. It's wild, but hey, everything is relative in this space. So yeah, there's definitely been an uptick in people searching way more than a year ago, no doubt about that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. This isn't some wild peak market frenzy, not yet anyway. Now, check this out. The piece I'm about to share dives into Bitcoin. And yes, I know we're all about the altcoins, XRP included, but stick with me because the takeaway applies across the board. What's happening here isn't just about one coin, it's the entire market moving in sync. And that's a good thing. It means the market's being treated evenly right now, which is exactly what you want to see when you're zooming in on these trends. Bitcoin retail traders are infamous for jumping in during market hype after big monthly gains or a fresh all-time high. And guess what? This time is no different. With Bitcoin inching toward $104,000 on May 14th, public interest in retail activity still seems sluggish. Back in 2025, analysts noted retail investors were the biggest net sellers of Bitcoin, while institutions scooped it up like pros. Sound familiar? It's deja vu with XRP. But here's the twist. Over the past 6 weeks, XRP has held its ground, even posting positive weeks while Bitcoin stumbled. Bulls seem to be rallying hard behind XRP, and their momentum doesn't show any signs of slowing down. Take a look at this. Retail investors are still the biggest sellers of Bitcoin, but guess what? The smart money is scooping it up. The big players are buying in because they know what's coming. Euphoria. If history repeats itself, and I believe it will, the next big wave is just around the corner. Here's the kicker. If past trends hold true, retail investors will likely jump back in about a week after Bitcoin breaks the $109,350 mark. Rivers analysis shows that in 2025 alone, individual investors offloaded 247,000 Bitcoin, worth a staggering $23 billion at the average price during that time. Michael Saylor's bold strategy made waves, accounting for 77% of the 157,000 Bitcoin acquired by businesses that year. Interestingly, current search trends for Bitcoin mirror levels from June 2024, when the cryptocurrency hovered around $66,000.00, struggling for 3 months to break past $73,000. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, Bitcoin has soared past $100,000, yet it's drawing the same level of interest from retail investors as it did at $66,000 nearly a year ago. Surprising, right? But this doesn't mean there's anything wrong, far from it. As pointed out in this article, retail investors tend to flood in after Bitcoin hits a new all-time high. That's when the excitement peaks and the real frenzy begins. That's when search terms for Bitcoin, XRP, and everything crypto are going to skyrocket. That will be the tipping point. So do you think it's on the horizon? If history does indeed rhyme, the answer seems to be a resounding yes. Here's something else to chew on. This is pretty fascinating. The Coinbase app now ranks 15th in the US App Store's finance category, up from its 20th spot in June 2024, according to data from The Block. Historically, mobile app rankings and Google search trends for Bitcoin have been strong indicators of retail interest. Case in point, back on November 15th, 2024, the Coinbase app catapulted from the 40th spot to the 5th in just 2 weeks, signaling a surge in demand. At the same time, search activity hit its highest point in over 2 years. No surprise there, right? And of course, prices shot up too. Funny how that works. But here's the kicker. After the most recent dip, with Bitcoin in the mid 70,000s, SNXRP briefly dropping to around $1.61, there wasn't a flood of euphoric retail investors rushing in. Instead, we saw fear in the air. Yet, prices rebounded. Why? Because the smart money was buying. They didn't panic. They seized the dip. Now, check this out. Here's the data. XRP search trends worldwide over the last 12 months. What's interesting is that while we're not seeing wild retail mania right now, interest is still noticeably higher than it was a year ago. It's a new norm. Elevated, but steady. These shifts happen periodically, and it's clear that interest rocketed after the election. Just take a look at XRP search trends by early December. Interest skyrocketed. Then came another surge during the week. XRP hit a new all-time high, the first in over 7 years. But as quickly as the buzz built, it faded. No big deal for XRP though. After hitting a local low around $1.61, the price, what we're seeing with search trends isn't unique to XRP. It's the norm across the crypto space, even for Bitcoin. This ebb and flow of attention is just how the game goes. The real excitement? It's what happens when Bitcoin smashes a new all-time high. It leads the charge. And when it does, investors flood in, pouring cash into a tidal wave of altcoins, including XRP. This is why it's thrilling. This is why it matters. The momentum, absolutely wild. Check this out. An on-chain analytics post from Santiment caught my eye. They highlighted the daily average of new wallets created over the past month for the top 4 cryptocurrencies by market cap. Lately, I've been keeping a close watch on XRP's performance in this area, and the growth is hard to ignore. On an average day now, XRP sees around 3,000 to 4,000 new accounts coming online. Compare that to a year ago when the daily number was closer to 1,000. Maybe even a bit less. That's nearly a 4x increase in daily new accounts in just a year. And this is all happening without the usual market euphoria we see during massive price surges. Imagine what will happen when that excitement kicks in again. The parabolic moves, all-time highs, and moon talk could be just around the corner. Santiment observed that XRP has been averaging 3,500 new accounts created daily over the past month. That's right, 3,500 accounts every single day. It lines up perfectly with what I noticed while using the XRP scan website. When I saw the numbers, I thought, yep, that checks out. It's impressive to see such consistent growth. And yet this is all happening without the usual wave of retail speculators. But make no mistake, they're on their way back. These speculators, while often labeled as useful idiots, serve a purpose in the market. They rush in, provide liquidity, and often exit at their own expense. Harsh? Maybe, but it's not personal. It's just a pattern we see again and again with every market cycle. Knowing this, it only makes sense to plan accordingly. When the wave of speculators inevitably floods in, they'll move like lemmings, following each other blindly, often straight to their own downfall. That's exactly what's unfolding here. People missed the boat when prices were low, and now they're chasing the green candles, drawn to the shiny allure of the moment. It's human nature, and honestly, we've all been there. I got caught up near the peak of the 2017 market cycle myself, but Here's the thing, some of us stick around. Sure, many will leave once the hype dies down. The tourists pack up and move on. But a handful, like me, decide to stay. I became a permanent resident in this space, even though I jumped in at a chaotic time. For some, entering at the wrong moment can be a lesson, a chance to really understand what this is all about. That's exactly what happened to me. The takeaway, this is an incredible moment for XRP, brimming with potential for those paying attention. You just have to look at everything happening to see why. When the market heats back up and Bitcoin smashes that new all-time high, things are going to go absolutely wild. This is the moment everyone waits for, but it's going to be quick. We're talking 1, 2, maybe 3 months tops. That's how long the alt season will last if history repeats itself. Once the frenzy begins, it signals we're near the end of the cycle. I'll be tracking key indicators here, and trust me, emotions will run high. People will shout, "No way, it's stopping now," because when prices skyrocket like that, everyone convinces themselves it'll never end. Spoiler alert, it always does. It's the same story every cycle. Overconfidence leads to mistakes, thanks to our old friend, the Dunning-Kruger effect. But let me tell you, there's no better time to be an XRP holder. This is the golden age for XRP, and I say that with all the confidence in the world. I get it. You wish you could have gotten in at half a penny. Who wouldn't? But let's be real. Back then, even if you had known about it, the risk was sky high, and there wasn't much of a track record to build confidence. Most people wouldn't have felt comfortable betting big. Now, though, XRP is a clear winner. I'm sure we're buying at a much higher price than half a penny, but look at the bigger picture. Even now, the money in XRP is just a fraction of what we could see in the future. If things keep moving in the right direction, if adoption grows, if the trajectory holds steady, this is still the sweet spot. It always has been. That's why, in my opinion, there's never been a better time to hold XRP. Honestly, I still think it's undervalued. I really do. Anyway, I'll wrap it up here, but I want to hear from you. If you're not as pumped as I am, tell me why. Seriously, I want to know what's holding you back. Let's talk about it. Oh, and by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't go buying or selling anything based on what I say. That would be a terrible idea. Please don't do it.